Yes, good morning, everyone. Can you people hear me fine? Am I audible to everyone? Audible. Today, we'll take a look at a small discussion on test number 2. Before I start with the discussion, let me first tell you lowest score that I've got in this, or the lowest score that any student rather has got in this paper is 35 marks. There were 4 or 5 students who are getting the score. Unfortunately, there are about 2 or 3 students who've got 35 out of 250. Despite writing both essays, they're getting a score of only 35. Vastly off track, very different from what is expected, and the quality, of course, is significantly lower than what we expected. However, in the same test, there are, I think, 2 students I remember for sure who got 150. As I said in this paper, I was trying very hard to cut marks. I was trying to find reasons, excuses where a student could lose marks. Despite that, there are 2 students who got 150. One, I think, has got about 145 or 147 also. Now, this means that again, most of you have got the hang of what to do in the essay paper. You know how to go about with it. Yet, there are some students, I don't know for what reason, they are still trying to experiment. If you have time, if you have another 1 or 2 years before you write your mains, that is fine. But if you're expecting your mains to come sometime soon, please start focusing on what gets you marks. You're not here to, just write something for the sake of writing it. You're writing it with the intention of getting marks. What that means, let me explain to you. Now, in this discussion over here today, what is the focus? These are the topics that were given to you. 4 in section A, all 4 of them were reflective topics. All 4 of them were reflective topics. Section B, there were 4 topics. One was from international relations, one was based on women, and 2 of them were based on economics. Now, out of these 5, these 4 I'll be discussing with you. The one on women I'll be discussing with you. The one thing that I want you to understand during this discussion, however long it takes us, an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, in the discussion, these essays are not my concern. These are just essay topics. I can pick up 1,000 more topics and make you write on them. Problem, however, is that you people need to understand how to approach the topics. This, please understand very categorically with me. These 4 topics are not my concern. You are sitting at home, you have nothing else to do, you are relatively free, relatively, mentally also, you people are free these days. Therefore, when you're preparing for the ethics paper, remember, for the essay paper, remember that in the mains, right before your mains, between your prelims and your mains, you have a total time gap of 3 months. In these 3 months, you don't have to finish your syllabus. You have to revise your syllabus at least twice if you want to do well in the mains. When you are revising this paper or when you are revising your entire syllabus, in the essay paper, the cost benefit analysis is highly in your favor. With a little bit of effort, you can really score exponentially high. For example, these students that I'm talking about who are getting 150, they know that no matter what they do, unless they really do terribly bad in one paper, in some optional paper or in some GS paper, unless they really do terribly bad, they are certain that they will at least pass their mains. What happens in the interview, I'm not sure. At least the mains they will definitely clear. But to be able to do that, it is, and that's what my focus for the class for today is. To be able to do that, you must understand that no matter what essay topic they give you, there are some basic common elements. Those elements, if you understand, if you can identify them, writing on any topic becomes significantly easier. For example, there are 4 reflective topics given here. Let me start with section A over here. There are 4 reflective topics given over here. Now, in reflective topics, what do I need to do? I only need to look at that topic from the perspective of values. Now, values, if you look at, they are countless. There are countless values. There are 10 values that are given in your handout, the one we discussed that day. Another 10 antonyms I can have, so I have 20. But other than these 20 values, there are countless more values. All the values I cannot read, I cannot prepare, I can't go on endlessly because I have to give an exam. So you must be able to understand what are the elements that are important in an essay. For example, if you look at this test that was given over here, I noticed that most of the students have written on number 2, number 3, number 4. I think 1 or 2 students, total 1 or 2 students have written on the first one, what goes around comes around. When you say, why did they not write on it? I don't know, but my understanding is that they did not know how to interpret the topic. They did not clearly understand what exactly the topic meant. However, there is always the possibility I will remove these three topics. I will give you only number one. And the rest are something that you can't write on at all. What will you write? If you look at these four topics given over here, and you take a look at what goes around comes around, you will realize that this is very similar to what is given in number four. What goes around comes around. What does that mean? That the manner in which you act, the manner in which you behave, one way or the other, the same thing is going to come back to you. You are good, good will come back to you. You are evil, evil will come back to you. You are lazy, you will fail. You are hardworking, you will pass. What goes around comes around. But the same thing, or almost the same thing, applies to the fourth one also. That with our thoughts, we make the world. How you think? You think positively, good things will happen. You think negatively, you'll always be fearful. You'll always be suspicious. You'll always be distrustful, and so on. There's no difference. The basic essence is the same. Similarly, again, if I take a look at it, take a look at number 3 and number 4. Attack the evil within you rather than the evil within others. And take a look at again, with our thoughts we make the world. The essence is the same. There's nothing significantly different. Which is why, and even if I look at, we'll take a look at these in a couple of minutes. If you look at the first two also, they are more or less saying the same thing. Many points will be overlapping. What goes around comes around, and character is how we treat those who can do nothing for us. There are very strong overlapping dimensions, which is why for the essay paper on everything, whether it is women, whether it is poverty, whether it is science and tech, whether it is reflective essays, if you write 3 or 4 good essays on good topics, anything that comes after this, you will be able to do justice to it very comfortably, very easily. Why am I emphasizing this right now? Because today you are getting the topics for test number 3. I don't know whether they've uploaded it or not, but you'll get it sometime very soon. When you get that again, take as much time as you want, but write an essay. Take 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, doesn't matter. But yes, write within the word limit. That is important because you cannot exceed the word limit in the exam. In your opinion, whatever you are capable of, think that you're writing the best essay possible. Then let me check it and let me still tell you where you are going wrong and what you need to do to improve. By the time you finish writing 4 or 5 such essays on each topic, each thing, after that, no matter what they ask you, especially when you have the confidence that this is written in my hand, in my handwriting, I studied, I found the information, I organized it, and now I've written it down. That gives you a tremendous amount of confidence, a very strong understanding of the topics. Now, keeping that in mind, again, the one good thing is that when I look at your answers, when I look at the essays that you've written, most of you are writing essays which are far better than students ordinarily write. They are very systematic. They are very well presented. Every now and then you people make a small error here or there, but by and large, they are significantly better than what we expect. However, these are some problems I found with what should I say, with a majority of the students. Majority meaning roughly about 50%. First and most common, and this is a problem area, is a lack of focus on the topic. What do you mean by lack of focus? Now, my intention behind giving you the handout was to make your task easier. That at least some content, quality, relevant, sensible content you have with you. But some of you are misusing that. What are you doing? You are literally picking up. I'll show you a couple of examples. Students are actually just picking up the sentences given over there and writing them in the essay. If I'm talking about women, they'll pick up 4 paragraphs. That with regard to women, these are issues. Number 1, judicial culture. Number 2, safety inside the household. Number 3, opportunities in the corporate sector. And they're copying it down. Even if I change the topic, they will write the same 4 points without even modifying the content. Which is why please focus on the topic, because where your focus wavers on the topic. Some students wrote about Atmanirbhar Bharat also. Jayant had taken the class with you. He must have told you about Atmanirbhar Bharat, must have told you how the government is taking various steps to ensure that we can bring our economy back on track. That is, I've seen your handout also. What have students done? Topic was Atmanirbhar Bharat has given us an opportunity has given us a chance to turn a crisis into an opportunity. What was the crisis? Nobody is writing. How did you turn it into an opportunity? Nobody is writing. They're writing the same things. There are 5 pillars. The government released so much money, 10% of the GDP. That is factual information. Where is the topic? Where are you addressing the topic? That you're not doing. Some students have done it, but most of them have not. Therefore, tailor the content according to the topic. And one small piece of advice for you, use the terms of the topic as regularly as you can. Whatever was given in the topic. For example, there's this, what is that statement? With our thoughts, we change the world, or we can bring about a change in the world. What do students do? They don't write thoughts. They write values. They write attitude. They write behavior. They write anything else. Don't write these words as frequently as possible, as regularly as possible in your writing. Use the terms of the topic. When you use the terms of the topic, there are two advantages. For the student, it enables you to keep focus on that topic, to remember that, yes, this is what I'm trying to write for. For the teacher or for the person who's evaluating it, it helps me realize, it helps me recognize that you're still focusing on the topic. If you digress, the penalty will be very high. So number one, do that. How you do that, I'll explain to you again by looking at a couple of examples. Second, language skills. Now, by the time you people have written the second test, most of you remember the first day we had a class, I made you write a paragraph. I said, write a paragraph on, I don't know which topic that was, privileges and principles of a nation. If you got that paragraph right now, some of you, your papers were lying at me with me at home. I read that first paragraph and I read what you people are writing today, and there's a world of a difference. Your content, your structure has become systematic. Content is reasonable. One area where you people still need to improve is on your language skills. For language skills, two simple suggestions. Number one, read better material. Collect words, collect phrases. What I said to you in the last discussion also, collect these. They will really go a long way in improving your expression. And number two, write smaller sentences. Don't even, I said this in the first discussion also. This test also, there were some two students, I don't remember the name. They're writing one sentence which goes on for 8, 9, 10, 12 lines. And by the time I reach the end of that sentence, it's very difficult to connect what they're writing here with what they've written in the beginning. Expression is poor. So please work a little on that. Number three, especially for reflective essays, other essays also, but especially for reflective essays, body paragraph number one. I don't know where you people searched and what you people did, but in this paper, the reflective essays that were given, whether it was thoughts, whether it was, attack the evil within you, many of you used a similar approach, but that approach to, in many cases, did not do justice to the topic. When you're writing that, please don't try to impress anyone. Big words don't matter. Big theoretical jargon does not matter. Keep it simple. What does the topic mean to you? Don't in body paragraph number one, as far as possible, unless it is absolutely necessary, don't use data, don't use examples. It's not required. We want your understanding of the topic in your words. And when you're doing it, why do I say 3 point? I can make it a 5 point rule. I can say 7 point rule. I can say write 3 paragraphs here. 3 point rule, because that in most cases will help you understand and convey the core essence, the crux of that topic. How you do that? Again, we'll take up examples today. Fourth and most importantly, and yes, this is a cause of concern, many of you or many students are not putting in effort, bare minimum effort. These students who I am saying are getting 150. I'll show you one of their scripts today. This is one topic, I don't know which one he was writing on, attack the evil within you rather than the evil within others. There is this one boy in your batch. What he has done is, I gave you values, honesty, courage, and so on. He didn't write honesty. He wrote that there are some people who are dishonest, some people who are greedy. He didn't write courageous. He wrote that there are some people who succumb to cowardice. He didn't write forgiveness. He said some people seek revenge. This needs to be overcome. Now I'm seeking revenge, so the problem is within me. So I need to change it. How do I change it? By being forgiving, by being willing to pardon. He has put that effort, and that effort reflects. It shows that there's a world of a difference. But majority of the students, what are they doing? Majority of the students are not even selecting the content correctly. For many of you, the feedback that I've given is, what can I do? At that time, nothing. I can just put a question mark. That the example that you're giving seems to have no correlation with what you're talking in the paragraph earlier. It is not related. Why did you pick it up? Because I gave you a table. There were 3 examples there, let's say, for forgiveness. But that shows forgiveness. Forgiveness also will vary from topic to topic. The context will keep changing. So there you have to at least select your content carefully. Number two, organize the flow of content. For example, there was a topic that was given that women are forever in chains. They are born free, but they are forever in chains. When you say forever in chains, now see, there are two ways I can write this. Number one, these are my body paragraphs. I can write that women don't get opportunities when they want to work. Number two, I can say there is something called marital rape. Number three, I can say nutrition and basic health care. Number four, I can say that women are discriminated against when it comes to the judicial system of the country. Let's say only four paragraphs. That's one way. Second way, I have the same four, but the second way that I'll write it is number one, I'll say that women are denied rights when it comes to health and nutrition. Number two, I can say nutrition. Number two, I can say that they face problems in their marital lives. Number three, I can say that they are denied opportunities. Number four, I can say the judicial culture. What is the difference? Here, it is a systematic flow. I am looking at a girl when she's born, when she's very young. From there, I will take you to the next step. She doesn't get food, she doesn't get nutrition, she doesn't get access to education. From there, number two, in her house, she's not comfortable. In a marital house, she's even more vulnerable. Number three, if she tries to work, she doesn't get opportunities. If she tries to seek justice, she's sexually harassed, glass ceiling, and so on. And if she tries to seek justice, even the judicial culture is not very supportive. It's clearly organized. The same content, but now is if this person is getting, let's say, 55, this person with no additional effort, with only that content, will get 60. Why? Little more effort, little more planning. Third, strive, and again, don't write the essay as if it is an exercise you have to complete. You don't feel like writing, you don't write right now. You write after another month. But when you're writing, strive to be the best. Don't look for shortcuts. And those shortcuts are very visible in many students' essays. It's very visible that they got a paper, they sat down, they started writing something for the sake of writing. That this is an exercise, let me finish it one way or the other. I am a part of the course, so I have to write it. No. You are here to clear the exam. The competition is really against you. And the competition is not the students around you. Your competition right now is sitting in Hyderabad training for the police, but who wants to give the exam again to get into the IAS. Your competition is a person who's training for railways, but will give the exam again to improve their rank. These are people who cleared the prelims, cleared the mains, cleared the interview also, but only not got the service of their choice. So when you're preparing for this exam, for every subject, including essay, strive to be the best. And how do you do that? In one simple word, study. You've got the content with you, and I'll show you in today's class itself how even this much content is more than satisfactory for you to write effective essays, provided a little bit of effort you're able to put in over here. Okay? Keeping these problems in mind, and any questions you have, I'll come to them in some time. Keeping this in mind, let me also show you some errors that students make. Now here, for example, this essay on my left hand side, I hope this is visible to you because there's a maximum I could enlarge it. If you look at this part over here, there is no connection with the topic. If you can read this over here, I do this in a little. No. Now this says this is the paragraph. It starts over here. Bystander effect. If a situation has arise in which that should be arisen is arise in which other people are present, they are not reporting something. Raja Ramone's wife fight against the practice of sati was inspired by the experience of seeing his own sister-in-law forced to commit sati. When we were talking about reflective essays, look at the notes that I have given you. This is a verbatim reproduction, word by word, comma by comma. Nothing has changed. How is it correlated to the topic? Nobody knows. I have no idea. And that's exactly what I've written over here. Where is the aspect of thoughts? The topic was, with our thoughts, we change the world. Have you written the word thoughts over here? No. Have you told me how you're changing the world with this? No. You've just, next paragraph, look at this. Pessimism bias, which indicates the behavior to overthinking, the likelihood of negative things happening, so on and so forth. Ditto the same thing that I've given in the notes. I can't give you marks for this. What do I give you marks for? For keeping the notes in front of you and just writing 5 paragraphs, stapling your answers and saying, sir, here is my essay. You put in no effort. And if you're not putting in effort, you will not get marks. Then there are some students who, what I was telling you in the last class also, there are some students who want to, I don't know, for some reason, prove a point. What is the point? That I will write whatever I feel like writing, you are supposed to understand. And what do? They make sweeping statements. You have no authority and no right to criticize someone. You can tell us deficiencies. You can tell us where there is scope for improvement. You, as a student and as an aspiring bureaucrat, have no right to complain about someone. You don't have right to criticize. Now, what are sweeping statements? Again, I'll give you a small example. Uh, this one over here, from over here somewhere. For example, Taliban. The community, though, has controlled. Again, I don't understand completely what it means, but though has controlled the country of Afghanistan, yet they are never nor will ever be treated in ways other developing or underdeveloped countries are being treated. What are you saying? You are saying that Afghanistan is doomed to fail. Who has given you that right? You are a country today which cannot respect your women. You are a country today where children die of hunger. You are a country today where in your national capital people die because they don't have air to breathe. By what right are you passing these kind of judgments on Afghanistan? No compassion, no sensitivity, sweeping statements. And not once, second time. Then read this part over here. I don't know what I wrote. I think this is two or something. Uh, Somewhere over here. A negative approach to rule over a region. Similar is the case with Pakistan. Other leading countries want to take advantage of the region rather than work hand in hand with them for development. Then reading further, this part over here. There is no peace of mind to the individuals nor to the nation. How do you know? If your or my grandparents, instead of coming to India, had shifted to Pakistan in 1947, I think we'll be equally proud of Pakistan because that would be our country. Who has given you the right to write like this? And when you say that all of them only, no, none of them want to work hand in hand with them for development, yes, that is a comment that I wrote. What about the UN? What about the WHO? What about the WTO? You are saying that all these international organizations are crooks rather than criminals who are just trying to exploit Pakistan. Who's given you the right to do that? And why are you writing this? This is nowhere been discussed. We've never talked about something like this. Why are you writing this? Because you don't read, because you don't study, because you don't focus on your content. And if you do this, of course, again, you can't be given marks. I still have to, check your answers because I still have to come and talk to you. I have to explain this to you. If this was happening in the UPSC, how will they evaluate the same script? The same script, if it was given over there, they will say this, they will say this. Next 2-3 pages, they will not even read. And very comfortably, they'll give you 10 out of 125. Done. You can argue, you can fight, you can debate and discuss with your friends as much as you want, but you cannot change these marks. You are not here to prove a point. You are not here to criticize someone. You are here only to earn marks. Don't make these kind of mistakes. And this, I'm again telling you, this is not class, this is not nursery, this is not KG, where I give you notes, you memorize them, you reproduce them, and you get marks. You will still have to. This content is to assist you. If you look at other essay classes, they give no content. No essay class, I think, in the country gives any content. They give you a booklet of quotations. They give you 2-3 government schemes. They give you nothing. I have organized this not to make you lazy, but to give you a starting point from where you can work forward. That some work has been done, more work. And what work do you have to do? Just modify the content. Similarly, these are two essays that someone wrote. Another two, if I take a look at. When I was saying lack of focus on the topic, the students don't focus on the topic, they write whatever they feel like writing. Now, look at the first essay over here. This essay over here says man's inventions. What is the topic over here? With our thoughts, we can change the world. With our thoughts, we can change the world. This is one paragraph here in front of you, entire paragraph. Ask yourself one question: where are the thoughts? That's all. For example, what is this person written? Man's inventions, ideas, research, and questioning of things have created a better world in which we live today. Industrial revolution shifted the world order, thus had also led to creation of ideas like something, 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 where we have seen how these led to the ideological differences. Where is the thought? How is the world changing? Is it changing for better or worse? Whose thoughts? Where have they come from? I have no idea. And since I don't have idea, this is all that I can write. How? Where are the thoughts? How are they changing? Then there's another one. Women are born free, but they are forever in chains. This is one example, Sunita Krishnan's example. The entire example goes on from here to here again, copied straight from the notes with a little bit of change here or there. How are women born free? You've told me the example of a very inspirational woman who was the victim of a very brutal crime at a very young age, overcame that crime, and after that has tried to ensure that other women don't become victims of similar misfortunes. I understand that. But my question to you was, women are born free but are forever in chains. How was she born free? What were the chains? Were they created by patriarchy? Were they created by poor laws? Were they created by physical inability? What are those chains? You've not addressed the topic at all. You've just written content. And see, I have a limited amount of papers that I can show you over here. Limited amount of examples that I can show you. But I know that what I'm discussing over here applies to many students, including maybe even you. If these are problems that you face, understand this is what it looks like to someone else. If this is your script, you are understanding it directly. If this is not your script, understand that this is what it looks like to a third party. When you write, you have a certain thought process, you expect the other person to understand. That is not the examiner's duty. He is not here to put in effort for your sake. I don't know you. I've never seen you. You're just a roll number on that sheet for me. I will not give you marks, and especially when I have good essays to read. There are 3 boys out of every 20 who are writing excellent essays. I'll give them marks. But after reading that excellent essay, if I have to read yours, your marks will drop even further. All right, so these basic common problems, please take a look at, because this only you can bring about changes in them. More specifically, let me move on with the to look at the topics that were given to you. Again, first, the brainstorming that you normally do and the structure that you follow. Number 1, interpret the topic correctly. Number 2, content for the introduction, one good example, same for the conclusion also. Example, anecdote, data, which leads to the topic as the last sentence. In body paragraph number 1, develop the correlation between the key terms, explain the context, explain the background, follow the simple 3-point rule. 3 questions that you ask yourself or that you put on paper to help you understand what are the crucial elements of that topic. And in the body paragraphs, what is your concern? What recommendation can you give? And some evidence, some examples, some data to support that recommendation. This we've discussed many times over. Now, looking at the first topic that was given to you, what goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. How do we rephrase the question? Does whatever we do come back upon us? Answer is yes. So I agree. But now, more important, what can I use in the introduction? I can talk about Yudhishthir. I can talk about India releasing the Pakistani POWs, Japanese school system, Viktor Frankl, and so on. But this is just examples. This is what I need you people to understand. Explain how these terms are correlated. What goes around comes around. First, what does it mean? And please note, there's not a single word here that is difficult, that is complicated. What does it mean? That what we do is invariably what we get back in return. Good begets good, bad invites bad. Simple. That is it. There's a boy who had written something similar. He had written that thoughts can be, that we can look at the world in 2 forms, positive and negative. What is positive will invariably attract something that is positive. What is negative will attract something that is negative, and wrote a little more. Very simple. There's nothing more that you need to explain to me. Keep it as simple as you can. But what do we do wrong? What we do wrong, and where am I getting these words from? These words I'm getting. Now, how do I prepare for this essay? I take a look at the values that are given to me. I have 10 of them. And I try to see, I can write only 5 values in the essay. Out of those 10, which 5 can I write? The 5 that I can write are honesty, courage, compassion, cooperation or unity, and finally empathy. Now see, that's the laziness I'm talking about in students. I define the value under the word unity. Students are writing unity, unity, unity. Why did you not write cooperation? Why did you not write team spirit? Because unity is something that does not gel very well with the topic that was given, that minor modification. And even this word cooperative is given in your handout. But that small modification, if you don't make, your essay again starts losing value. But that is what I can do right, what I should do. What do I do wrong? What did I do? For these words, I only picked up the antonyms given over here. Ideally, everyone should be honest. Many of us are dishonest. You should have courage. Many people are cowardly. You should be compassionate. Many people are cruel. You should be cooperative. Many people are communal, divided, fragmented. And what does this lead to? If you behave in this manner, if this is how you behave, what will this lead to? Dishonesty will lead to suspicion. The curse of a liar is not that nobody believes him. The curse of a liar is that he can believe nobody. If you are a liar, if you are a cheat, you believe that everyone around you is exactly the same. So you'll never be able to forge a healthy or a consistent relation. If I'm cowardly, what is the problem? I constantly live in fear. If you're cruel, and so on and so forth. This is what I will write in my body paragraph. In body paragraph number 1, what will I write? Very simple. What goes around comes around. That what we do is what we get back in return. If we are good, we get good. If we are bad, we get bad. Very often, what is the problem? We follow the wrong values. And I'm not using the word values when I'm writing. I'm going to say that many people are victims of dishonesty, cowardice, cruelty, communalism, and so on. As a result, what they get back also is something that is negative. And what should we do? What is the cure? That ideally you should do the exact opposite. You should be honest, courageous, compassionate, and so on. This is all that you have to write. And how long will you take? 100 to 120, 140, 150 words maximum. Not more than that, because you have the entire essay to complete. Now, in this essay, what points can I use in the body paragraph? And here again, yes, the selection becomes important. Selection of what? Selection of all these elements. Earlier, I said that students are putting in minimal effort. Minimal effort. What does that mean? That means that if there is a value called honesty, there are 4 concerns that are given, but all 4 concerns may not be relevant to this topic. Choose the content which you believe is appropriate. There might be 3 examples that are given, but all 3 may not be relevant for this topic. If I say Japanese school system may not be given under honesty in your notes. It may be given under self-awareness. But here it works perfectly. It fits in perfectly. So that much effort I'll make to at least choose the right content. How long will it take you to make this table? If you're sitting at home, if you make this table in front of you, I think it will take you about 10 or 12 minutes. That's it. In 10 or 12 minutes, what am I doing? I have identified the values I'm going to discuss. I have identified which concerns. All of them are 2, 3. But I want the concern which actually fits with this topic. What recommendations fit? What evidence fits? So first I will say what goes around comes around. One of the most important aspects is honesty. If you're honest, others will be honest with you. If you're dishonest, even if they're not dishonest, you will always live with that fear, with that distrust, with that suspicion. What is the concern? Why are people not honest? Either because of needs or because of greed. The theoretical part is given in your handout. What do we recommend for this? Ensure that everyone has the basic necessities and good value education. And from good value education state, the next sentence goes to the Japanese school system, where from a very young age. Now, I am not going to say that Japanese school children are taught to clean their classrooms, that they clean up the classrooms, they wash the floors. No, because that is not relevant here. But I am going to say that in Japan, extra emphasis is placed on value development, value education at a young age, so that, and that paragraph from your notes I remember, so that when these children grow up, they grow up to be people or they grow up to be individuals who are sensitive and cognizant of other people and the impact of their actions on others. Why? Because what goes around comes around. If I'm sensitive towards your needs, you will be sensitive towards mine. The good of the individual is contained in the good of all. Second value that I pick up is, let's say, courage. Is courage. In courage, what is the concern? Ideally, you should be courage, because if you're courageous, the same comes back to you. You don't have to live in fear, pessimism, bias, negative reinforcement. And what is the problem? What is the recommendation? That you should have a strong internal locus control. You should have realistic targets. Whose example will I give over here? Many I can give, but here I will choose. For example, if I had to pick one, I would say probably Marwan Attappattu. Why Attappattu? Because what goes around comes around. Had he been cowardly at that time, after taking 6 years to make a second run in Test cricket, had he given up, he would have never earned the name and the fame that he currently enjoys. You show courage and you will get the same back. You show cowardice, you lack and you slag, and you will not be able to get the returns that you otherwise should. Third, similarly, you can talk about compassion. What goes around comes around, so you must be compassionate. What is the problem? Bystander effect, materialism, and so on. What is the recommendation? Use only one of them. Say, for example, point number 1, that people should have the realization of interdependence. For compassion, one of the best examples you can give is Mother Teresa. Fourth is forgiveness, and so on and so forth. See, this is not the point. This is just a list of points. This is not my concern. My concern is to teach you something else. Now, this is what I can use for this essay. What goes around comes around. Let's take a second topic now. Character is how we treat those who can do nothing for us. In this essay, what will I write? Is character reflected in how we treat others? Yes, so I agree with it. These are some examples I can use. This is also not my concern. My concern is this part now. In the body paragraph, in body paragraph number 1, what will I write? Character is how we treat those who can do nothing for us. So number 1, what is character? Character, very simple. And where is it coming from? Again, the dictionary. As simple as that. The set of mental and moral qualities that make a person different from the others. That is my understanding of character. Where is character revealed? Character is revealed based on how we treat others. This, all of you, or at least most of you, have written. That character is revealed in our actions. Some students say that, our thoughts become our actions, actions become our habits, that habits determine our character. You are absolutely right. But all students, without exception, every single student has stopped at this one point. If I turn to you and I say that there's a person, I don't know whether you people have studied at Vajiram or not, or whether you've taken classes here or not. If you've taken classes here, you must have had a class with, if I talk about some teachers over here, you must have had a class with Mr. Ravindran. You must have had a class with Shivarpit. You must have had a class with a couple of other people. If I talk about these people, you will say, and if I ask you, what do you think about their character? You'll say that, sir, they're good human beings. They're decent human beings. They're very well mannered and so on. But there is one aspect more that you had to touch upon. What should you say? You will say that everyone treats people who are better than them in a good manner. If you are richer than me, if you are powerful than me, if you are higher in the hierarchy than me, if you are my boss, if you're my superior, if you're a celebrity, everyone treats these people well. Why? One of two reasons. Number one, either in expectation of a reward or a return, or very frequently out of fear. If there's a person, let's say there's a bureaucrat who's extremely corrupt, most people still will treat him well, not because that is their character, but because they fear that he can act against them. There's a relative of yours who's very rich, filthy rich, but he has very bad habits, yet you treat him well. Why do you treat him well? Because he can give you something in return. Don't forget the topic. Character is how you treat those who can do nothing for you. So add a third part. How is character revealed in our actions, behavior, and so on? How is character actually or truly revealed? It is truly revealed based upon how we treat those who are less fortunate than us. Why? Because this is where we have the power, we have the freedom to be who we truly are. We don't have to fear anyone, we don't have to expect anyone. Now I can genuinely, truly be who I am. And this is where my actual character will be revealed. If I look at it in slightly theoretical terms, in India, what do we have? What I was saying to you in the last class also, a deification of authority. What is a deification of authority? We respect and we treat very well the people who are above us, but we really misbehave and ill-treat the people who are subordinate to us. And that is where your character is actually revealed. When you're talking to me, let's say you met me here at Vajiram, you speak to me very respectfully. But after meeting me, you leave from here, you go to a roadside vendor who's making tea. That the person who's making tea, he fumbles a little and a little bit of tea falls on your hand. It's warm. You start abusing him. Now, what is the difference? This is where your actual character is being revealed, because this person can do nothing to you or nothing for you. Just that one aspect. But most of you stop. And what I'm telling you here is nothing great. There's no revelation that I'm making here. All that you had to do over here was focus on the second part of the topic. Character is revealed in how we treat those who can do nothing for us in return. One. Second, let me just go back to the previous topic. Previous topic. These are 5 values that we chose: honesty, courage, compassion. What goes around comes around. Compassion, forgiveness, and unity. Now, when I say character is how we treat those who can do nothing for us, some of these values will be used again. For example, compassion is used here also. Forgiveness is used here also. But a couple of values will, of course, change depending upon the topic. For example, If I say character is revealed in how we treat others or how we treat those who can do nothing for us, first value that you should use is self-awareness. What is the problem with self-awareness? Social conditioning, herd mentality. Why do we ill-treat others? Why do we look down upon the poor? Why do we think that people who are engaged in manual scavenging don't deserve respect and stature in our society? Because that's our conditioning. How do you overcome this? You overcome this through, again, this is given in your handout, better child rearing practices, good role models, and so on. Here, whose example will I give? Azim Premji. Azim Premji may not be given in your handout under self-awareness. He may be given under charity, philanthropy, compassion. But I can use his example here because what am I trying to prove? Do something, regardless of what is happening in the world, do something for those people also who can give you nothing in return. I will use his example. Similarly, number two is emotional intelligence. Why do I not help other people out? Because of self-discrepancy. I'm not sure about my own values, about my own thinking and perceptions and so on. And number two, belief perseverance, inability to change my line of thinking, my notions. Recommendations are here. Whose example will I give? Abraham Lincoln and the Slavery Emancipation Proclamation. When he was able to make it work, what did he do? Single-handedly was able to ensure that slavery became one of the fundamental issues that were affecting and that would be the outcome of the US Civil War. What did he get in return? Nothing. Character is how you treat those. If you look at Lincoln today, more than anything else, he's remembered single-handedly as one of the greatest presidents of the US because he was able to abolish slavery. Third, empathy, and so on and so forth. Again, these are just terms. I can go on, but this is already written over there. If you want me to explain something, I'll do it later. That is not the concern. This is just content for a topic. A couple of students sitting over here, they might change the content that they're using. If I'm using this, they might write something else. They might use some other value, some other example, and write a equally good or maybe even a better essay. That is not the problem. Concern, more importantly, what I was trying to teach you in the last discussion also, and I try to teach you again over here, tailor the content to suit the topic. Most of these topics, most of these, the values that are given can be used interchangeably. Examples can be used interchangeably. But what matters, and I've written this on n number of students, copies. What matters more importantly is how you modify that content to suit the demands of the topic. For example, in both of them, you won't remember the table, so I've written it here also. There are two topics. What goes around comes around, and character is how we treat those who can do nothing for us. What is what goes around comes around? That what I do for others is what they will do for me. Second one says that you should do for others, you should help out others, you should be decent with others, even if they can give you nothing in return. One common value in both of them is compassion. Concern for both of them also is the same, communal overtones. Recommendation is the same, but recommendation, don't be a victim of the bystander effect. And the example is Mother Teresa. Now, if I take a look at this topic over here, the part that I've highlighted in blue, and this I will go very slowly because I need you people to understand how the same content is being changed. The part that is given in blue, this part over here and this part over here will change in the next topic. But this segment with the one in black will remain the exact same. If I want to write about compassion with regard to what goes around comes around, what will I write? That our actions towards others determine how others would respond to us in return. Therefore, it is vital to be compassionate because just as others are in need of benevolence today, we could need the same tomorrow. Done? What have I said so far? That it is very important to be compassionate because what you need today or like others need that help today, you might need it tomorrow. However, there are many people who are victims of the bystander effect. What is bystander effect? Very briefly, an individual is less likely to help a person if others are not helping them out. Further, a simple remedy in this regard is to promote the realization that the good of the individual is contained in the good of all. Example is also the same. Mother Teresa. This is what Mother Teresa exemplified through her life by establishing the missionaries of charity, which provides free shelter and care to the destitute. Now, this part, remember carefully with me. I've stopped here. This is what is written in your hand. Exactly this much. Students stop, they go to the next paragraph. But my point is, what goes around comes around. She's very compassionate, she's very nice, she's very caring, giving, so on and so forth. Great. What comes back? Nothing. So far, you've not told me. So just add one sentence. Just add one sentence. It was her unwavering compassion that earned her global acclaim and sainthood. And the topic again, because what goes around comes around. It was because she was caring that today, if you talk about Mother Teresa, the world knows. Not one state in India, not a couple of people in India. The world knows that yes, there was a lady called Mother Teresa, one of the greatest in the world, that got her the Nobel Prize. Where are you people going wrong? It's not that your content is wrong. Your content is right, but you people are stopping here. You are using only the information given there. See, I can't anticipate every topic that will come. Little bit of modification you will have to put in. Just one sentence here. And for some of you have written also on your sheets that one small word, one small sentence will make a huge difference with the same content. You're getting 55 out of 125, you will get 70 with the same content, just one or two words, please change. Now, this is when we are talking about what goes around comes around, compassion here. But if I say that compassion is important in treating those who can do nothing for you, the same content can be used there. The content will be the same, but the manner in which you're using it will change slightly. For example, again, one moment. That part has got cut, doesn't matter. Again, the part in blue is the part that is changed, the most revealing trait. And I know that here you can follow to some extent with me. This I'm going to make a handout and have it uploaded for you by today evening. When you get it, the one thing that you'll focus on doing is understanding how the content is the same, how the material is the same. It's only the language which has a slight change, but which makes a significant difference. The first part now changes. The blue part is different. This says the most revealing trait of our character is how we treat those who are less fortunate than us, because this is where we have the liberty to be our true selves without any fear. How here it is vital to be compassionate, because many people may not have anyone else to turn to. Now, this part is the same, ditto same compared to the last paragraph. However, it is often witnessed that many people are victims of the bystander effect. Individuals are less likely to help. Solution is to require that the realization that the good of the all of the individual is contained in the good of all. This part is ditto the same. This part I modified. Now comes the example. Whose example? Again, Mother Teresa, same. Now, last time in the last paragraph, we said what goes around comes around. Mother Teresa helped others, because of which she earned global acclaim. She earned a Nobel Prize. She was awarded sainthood. But this time, I don't have to tell you what she got. I only have to tell you how she helped others. So now I will emphasize, I will say, it was this sense of compassion that drove Mother Teresa to found the missionaries of charity. What do I have to emphasize? That she helped a lot of people who could give nothing to her. So now I will mention the figures, which provides free shelter and care to the destitute, regardless of their background, in 758 missions globally. What do students do? They use the same information. 758 missions in 9 countries. They will write it in every topic. But then the point is not coming across. The moment you write this now, what do? In 758 missions globally? Because character is what we do is how we treat those who can do nothing for us. Focus on the topic. Content is correct. Modify the content to suit the demands of the topic. This is everyone understanding. Again, I'm telling you, I have checked a lot of essays in my time here at Vajiram. I've checked a lot of answers. I've checked a lot of case studies. I've read a lot of scripts from students. You people, and I'm not trying to, sort of make you people feel happy or something. You people are genuinely writing. Your structure is absolutely fine. It's very easy. Your handwriting, some of your handwritings are very difficult to read, but your structure is absolutely fine. It's easy to understand the flow of your essay. But many of you are not able to make just these small changes. These few small changes that you make, there's a world of a difference in the quality of your essay with the exact same content. Now, this is the first 2 topics that were given to you. Similarly, another 2 topics that were given, attack the evil within you rather than the evil in others. This part again is very simple. Is it better to attack the evil within us? Yes, agree. Whose example will you give? Now, what do you mean by attack the evil within you? That whatever is the problem or whatever is the issue or the challenge that you're facing, first try to bring about changes within you rather than bringing about changes in others. Whose example will I'll explain it a little better in a minute. Whose example will you give over here? Viktor Frankl. What is the problem over here? Viktor Frankl was going from one concentration camp to the other. If he wanted, like many of us, he could have just sat down and criticized that the Germans, the Nazis, are very cruel. They are very inhuman. And because of that criticism, because of lethargy, after some time, he also might have been a victim. He chose not to do that. What did he choose to do? He chose to attack the evil within him. What is the evil within him now? Please tell me what is the evil. Because when you people don't write that evil, when you just write an example, I don't understand what you're trying to say. I still give you the benefit of the doubt because I'm teaching you. The other person will not. So you have to tell me what evil did he overcome? The evil of fear. How did he overcome that? By finding a sense of purpose, by defining that sense of purpose in his life. Oskar Schindler, what did he do? Again, Nazis were killing people across Europe, but he spent his entire fortune on getting people to safety. He didn't become one of them. He became a pioneer in a very different manner. You can say that about Marwan Nattapattu, K. Sivan, Azim Premji, all of them. Azim Premji, for example. I was just taking an ethics class right before you. I don't know how the discussion went there, but someone was talking about Elon Musk. Elon Musk has a net worth these days of $300 billion. The UN asked him for how much? The UN asked him for $6 billion. For what? Eradicating, not lowering, eradicating global hunger. Elon Musk said that I will give you 6 billion if you first give me a detailed plan of how you will spend this money. Give me a detailed plan, I'll release the money to you. And of course, I don't think that is going to happen anytime soon. Now he's not one of the, he is the wealthiest man in the world right now. If he keeps working, the Tesla that he's working on, SpaceX that he's working on, the phone, what is that called? Tesla Pi they're making now. If they keep going the same way, in another 2 years, this 300 billion could be 800 billion. And yet he's reluctant to donate. He will donate, I'm sure, in the future. But at the moment, he's reluctant. In contrast, is Azim Premji. Third world country, developing country, terrible poverty in this country, and he has a fraction of Elon Musk's wealth. How much has Azim Premji donated so far? Latest figures are about $24 billion. 24 billion. UN is asking Elon Musk for 6 billion out of 300, and he's hesitating. This man living in our country, if you and I take a train right now, tomorrow morning we could be sitting with Azim Premji, actually get to see him. He lives in this country with us, has donated $24 billion. Why? Attack the evil within you rather than the evil in others. What is the evil in this country? People don't have charity. People are not compassionate. People don't care about the suffering or the problems of others. We hoard, we save for our children, for future generations, but we don't give to others. But Azim Premji did not complain about that. He did what he could. And I'm sure the first time that he made a contribution, it won't have been $1 or $2 billion. Must have been a few lakh rupees when he started. But look at what it has come to today. So when we say attack the evil within you rather than the evil within others, how will you? And this paragraph again, yes, keep it simple, keep it easy, but focus on the key terms of the topic. First, what does it mean? That solving the problems in the world, the challenges in the world requires all of us to change. If you don't change, the world is not going to change. Things are not going to improve. However, we have a tendency, when we demand change, we have a tendency to see faults in others rather than also realizing that we ourselves have some faults, have some shortcomings. My drawings are very bad, but there's this one, what should I say, the cartoon that I've seen, which has two photos. There's a person standing with a mic, and there's a crowd of people in front of him. He says, "Who wants change?" Everyone raises their hand. Then he asks another question: "Who wants to change?" Not a single person raises their hand. We say that India should be clean, but I will throw garbage wherever I want. We say that India should be prosperous in the future, but I will not pay my taxes. We say that the government should give us good infrastructure, but I will never write a letter to complain about some deficiency that I'm facing. Who should do it? Someone else. You should pay your taxes. You should not litter. You should not indulge in crime. You should not pass racist remarks. But I am not willing to change myself, and the evil persists. So, what does this cause? This now we expect others to change. We're not willing to do it ourselves, but others expect the same from us. Just as I will not change, I expect you to change. Others expect us to change. They will not bring about the change themselves. Unfortunately, we have no control over others. They don't have control over us. So the problem stays as it is. What is needed in this regard? What is needed in this regard? Again, Gandhi and his 3 words: be the change. Any change that you want to see in the world, be the change yourself. Why? Because the world is not changed by your opinion, it is changed by your example. This is what I write very briefly in about 100, words in body paragraph number 1. Now, attack the evil within you, not the evil in others. In the body paragraphs, what will I write? 5 or 5 different body paragraphs, 5 different values. Now, in each value over here, I am talking about the difference between good and evil. I'm talking about the importance of attacking that evil. So, I have 2 options. I can use the value, or I can use the opposite of the value. You can talk about courage, you can talk about cowardice, you can talk about motivation, you can talk about pessimism, you can talk about self-awareness, you can talk about indifference. That I leave up to you. I completely leave up to you. This is the content which is already given in your handout. This is not my concern. My concern, more importantly, is to show you how this content is used. And here is that boy I was telling you who used antonyms, very well in this essay. The problem was that he was writing on one page and the paragraph was completing in the other, which is why I couldn't take more photos. Had he written on one page, I would have shown you about 5 of it. I would have shown you probably the entire essay. Now, what is this boy written? Somewhere in the middle of the essay, he writes, research in social and biological sciences have revealed the desire for revenge. This is the start of the paragraph, by the way. Have revealed the desire for revenge. He's not talking about forgiveness. He's talking about revenge. Why? Because he wants to prove, attack the evil within you, not in others. What is the evil within you? Here it is, revenge. Then, revenge is a built-in feature of human nature. People believe that exacting revenge as a form of emotional release that will help them feel better. This is probably true in the short term, but in the long term, revenge destroys both parties, creates a cycle of retaliation. This one part, this small part, not even this much, this part over here, he's taken from the notes. But from here till here, whatever he's written on his own. It's not that he's blindly copying the notes over here. Number 1, he's told you what is the evil within you. Number 2, he's told you that if you allow this evil to persist, if you allow it to continue within you, this is what will happen. It will destroy you and the person that you're trying to extract revenge from. Further, such fallacies can possibly be changed if individuals develop or inculcate the value of forgiveness. Like I told you, use the value or use the antonym. That's your choice. That I leave completely up to you. If we develop the value of forgiveness, which refers to the quality of voluntary something, forgiveness elevates both parties and so on. For example, India released 93,000 captured Pakistani POWs and so on. Paragraph is over. I am not trying to show you this to tell you that some student got very good marks or some students done something exceptionally well. I am telling you that this is a boy who put in a little bit of effort with the same content that all of you have. But with that little bit of effort, look at the difference that it makes. Whether I read it as an evaluator or you read it as a classmate, it's very easy to understand that he has a very firm grip on the topic. Is everyone following? The content is not the concern. The language is not a concern. Your handwriting is also not a concern. Most importantly, please address what the topic is talking about. This is not answer writing. This is essay writing. Keep that topic in clear mind in front of you. Now, that was one part, which is attack the evil within you rather than the evil within others. Yes, one small thing. These 5 values over here that you can see, these 5 values you can see over here, concern, recommendation, evidence, the same content, the same recommendation, the same values will be used without any change in this one also. If you want, you can use the exact same content and you can still do justice. All that you have to do is slightly modify the manner in which you're writing it. That's it. Another topic that was given to you was, with our thoughts, we make the world. When you say with our thoughts, we make the world, what, again, this part, let me just skip. This is very easy. Do you agree with it? Yes. Now, how are the terms correlated? If you remember the first topic that we started with, what goes around comes around. Again, these are different slides, so you may not be able to follow here. When I put it for you as a handout, you can read it again. But this is what you focus on. What I'm writing here is about 70 to 80% similar to what I wrote in the first topic. What goes around comes around. What did we say? This sentence is ditto. Good begets good, bad invites bad. It's the same thing that we're writing there, but a little bit of a change. What with our thoughts we make the world, how we think creates our perception of the world around us. I don't need to explain perception to you. That much the examiner knows. So I am not going to say that so and so defines perception as this. Psychology says this about perception. We are not concerned with that. We are concerned with your understanding. Number two, what do we do wrong? Thinking in a manner. Same thing that I was talking about earlier, but we've reversed. Thinking in a cowardly manner, pessimistic manner, indifferent manner. What does this do? This causes fear of the world, being suspicious of others, distrust in others, sense of viewing the world as a cruel place, feeling isolated, and so on. What should we be doing? Thoughts should be courageous, should be persistent, should be helpful, should be empathetic. And what will this do? Or why should this be the case? Because the world is a mirror. It reflects exactly how you are. It reflects how you're feeling. It reflects how you behave. The day that you people are feeling good, if I tell one of you that you got 115 in your actual exam, you will go out and the world will seem like a beautiful place. But if a student gets to know that they've not cleared the prelims, for the next 2, 3 days, the world seems very gloomy. It mirrors who we are. That's all that I need to write. Now, this, of course, this you can write on your own. This is not my concern. This part I need you to understand. First, briefly, let me go back. This is attack the, what has happened to this? This is what we wrote earlier. Attack the evil within you rather than the evil within others. These are the five values here. Exact same values with nothing changed can be used even in this topic over here. Cowardice, courage or cowardice, motivation or pessimism, self-awareness, indifference over here. However, the manner in which you use this content, that will make the difference. What does that mean? Again, two topics given to us: attack the evil within you rather than the evil in others, or with our thoughts we make the world. One value we choose, one of them for as an example for you, self-awareness. In self-awareness, what is the concern? Most people don't have the ability to be aware, to be cognizant of their own thinking, of their own ability, of the impact of their actions on others. What is the recommendation? Good role models. And one example, let's take a simple example, Azim Premji. Right? Now, the value is the same, concern, recommendation, example is the same, but there are two different topics. Tailor the content, modify the content, write the content in a manner that addresses the demands of the topic. What does that mean? First one over here says attack the evil within you rather than the evil within others. Again, the blue part is the part that will change. Here we say the cause of most problems in the world today is that people are indifferent to what happens around them. How are they indifferent? They witness abject poverty but indulge in luxury without any guilt. They witness crimes but are reluctant to help. They conform with the prevalent norms and yet complain that the world is becoming worse. Over here, what is needed? It is vital, therefore, to inculcate self-awareness so that we can see how our actions align with our environment. Where am I taking this? This is directly from your notes. This, in turn, necessitates good role models who lead by example. When did I say example? That the world is changed, not by your opinion, but by your example. A case in point over here is Azim Premji. Now, Azim Premji I'm talking about, but what am I saying? Attack the evil within you. How will I put that over here? Azim Premji, whose lifetime donations are in excess of $21 billion. In a country where charity is conspicuous by its absence. Why am I saying it is conspicuous? What is conspicuous? Visible, noticeable. It is noticeable that in a country we don't have a culture of charity. In that country, he has already donated $21 billion. And through that, what has he done? He chose not to preach. Why am I saying not to preach? To say that he's not attacking the evil in others. He's first attacking the evil within himself. He chose not to preach, but to pioneer the path towards the emancipation of others, proving truly that, that we should attack the evil within us rather than the evil within others. This is one value of self-awareness which we are using with the same content for this topic. But the same value, the same example, the same content, I can use for this topic also. All I have to do is modify it a little. Now here, what do I say? With our thoughts, we make the world. The world can be good or bad. The world can be comfortable or difficult. The world can be kind or cruel. So here, what do I say? For many people, the world seems harsh and cruel because they're indifferent to what happens around them. Just one sentence to modify this content towards this topic. Starting here, which is the black portion, going till here, the rest of the content is the same. Why does the world seem harsh and cold? Because they are indifferent to what happens around them. How are they indifferent? They witness poverty, they don't have guilt. They see crimes, they don't happen. They are not willing to help. They live according to prevailing social norms, so on and so forth. Case in point is Azim Premji. But here, just one sentence I'll change. Last time I was trying to prove that Azim Premji is not trying to bring a change in others. He's first trying to change himself. Here, all that I have to change, all that I have to show is that when you think in the right manner, when you are self-aware, when you are compassionate, empathetic, it changes the world around. How do I do that? One small change. In his own way, he has contributed towards the world, towards making the world a better place for millions of marginalized people. Right? And last the sentence proving truly that with our thoughts we make the world. The content again is not a concern. All that you have to do is modify it, keeping in mind the topic. This does everyone follow? This is everyone clear? Before I move on, so far, then we'll take a look at the woman topic also. So far, does anyone have any questions? All right. Now, these were the reflective topics that were given to you. And one last time, I'm repeating it. In reflective topics, most of your content, which is your concerns, your recommendations, your evidence, your examples, is interchangeably usable, very comfortably interchangeably usable. Therefore, when you have the time, when you're studying, first focus on understanding those values, problems, recommendations, and so on. Once they are embedded, once you internalize them, playing around with them, using them interchangeably becomes significantly easier. Now, in the second part of the paper, first part you people had to write in a reflective topic. You didn't have a choice. Second part of the paper, there was one topic on women, there were two on economics, and there was one on IR. I think about 80% of the students, if not more, have written on this topic. But most most students who've written on this have not, the ones who wrote on economics, again, even they were not able to write well. But this topic over here, with the same content, many students could have written a much better essay. What have they done? Many of them, the topic says women are born free but are forever in chains. What do chain mean? That there are some problems that everyone knows, and you people have written also. Almost nobody has explained how are women born free. Those who've explained that women are born free, what have they said? They have said that every person has the right to be born. Or they've said that women who are born were lucky because many females, many girls are killed while they are only a fetus. That they've written in the first paragraph or in the first two paragraphs, somewhere they've mentioned. After that, in the rest of the essay, there is no mention of how women are born. What does born free mean? That is nowhere to be seen. And since it is nowhere to be seen, I can't give you marks because you're just talking about, what are you talking about? General problems of women. Women are not getting economic opportunities. Women are being given a lot of household work. Women have a low labor force participation rate. Women are the victims of crimes. I understand. How are they born free? You're not writing that. So, in the introduction, what could you have written over here? You could have discussed the Goa polygamy law. You could have written about Devdasis, Tarun Tejpal case, Texas abortion law, glass ceiling, any of them. The content everyone knows. However, in this essay, the rest I don't need to explain to you. Body paragraph briefly, let me look at. And where you people make a problem, that let me show you. Now, what does this topic mean? Women are born free but are forever in chains. What it means fundamentally is that despite being born with the same rights as every man, women frequently in their lives are deprived of even basic rights, even necessities. What is necessity? Healthcare, nutrition, education, right to live, right to work, dignity, safety from crime, and so on. Where I'm speaking these words from, I'll show you in a minute or so. And that is what I need you to understand. That's why I'm saying you people are not working hard. What does it mean? That they have the same rights as men. But what does born free imply? Born free implies that when not only women, any human being who's born, just by virtue of being born, is entitled to certain inalienable rights. What are those inalienable rights? Again, I'll show you, regardless of the gender. Whether you're man or woman, there are certain rights that you must have. But when we say they're forever in chain, what does chain signify? Chain signifies the problems, the prejudices, the challenges, the obstacles, the hindrances that women face in getting right or in getting access to these rights. This is all that you have to write in body paragraph number 1. No example needed, nothing needed. Write this much, just 3 sentences also if you write. I understand that you understand the topic correctly. Question more important is, and this is what I again want you to understand, I am saying that every person, man, woman, regardless of the gender, has certain inalienable rights. What are those rights? In your notes, that is what we call your ideal conditions. But those ideas, they are given in your notes, they're written down clearly for you, but those you people just did not remember. When I ask you, what does being born free mean? All of this, where have I taken this from? From your notes, from that part which says ideal condition. Ideally, what do we want? What does this mean? Many of you in this essay are going to get substandard marks. That I already know. Why will you get substandard marks? Because this entire part, you were absolutely silent. All you had to do is in the beginning of the paragraph, in every body paragraph, add just one sentence. For example, I've just looked at 3 principles over here. I could have gone on, but that would have been a sort of duplication of work. From the point of view of culture, the first dimension that we consider is social culture. What do we want? Ideally, what does born free mean? Use one sentence, that every woman is born with the right to enjoy equality between the genders. That's it. That's it. You've told me. The rest you people have written. You've written that there is patriarchy. You've written there is household inequality. You've written that women are discriminated against. That I know. Just one sentence you had to write, that every woman is born free with the right to get equality between the genders. If you didn't write about this, maybe you wrote about the law. You've written there are discriminatory laws. But here, just write one thing. Women are born free, and like every other human being, regardless of gender, have the right to equal rights and equal treatment. They're born with these rights, but they are often denied. Why are they denied? Because of discriminatory laws. For example, the prohibition of land inheritance, agricultural land inheritance in certain states. That information you people have. My concern, the rest of it is not important for me. What is important for me is only this section over here. If you write only on that part, half of your essay I can't understand, or half of your essay at least is missing. You have to address the topic comprehensively. If you're writing, for example, about religion, you would have said that women are born free because every woman, by virtue of being born, has the freedom, as a fundamental right, has the freedom to practice any religion as she wants. You people have written about Sabrimala. I've read that. But where is born free? Just one sentence over here. Just one small point. Similarly, if you're talking about which one, let's say safety. What do you mean by safety? How are women born free? They have the right to live. Every woman has the right to live. Unfortunately, that right is denied. Why is that right denied? Infanticide, feticide. Every woman has the right to a safe marital home. Every man, every woman, everyone has that right. They're born free, but very frequently there are demands for dowry. There is domestic violence and so on. See, again, I'm telling you, the content is not a problem. Content, honestly, is not a problem. I think there's been one small, what should I say, mismatch. I gave the content to you with the expectation that you can use it to write your essays. You've interpreted slightly differently, that we're supposed to take the content and write it down over there. You're not modifying, you're not changing, you're not applying yourself a little. That's why I'm spending time on this discussion over here. All that you have to do is modify the content a little bit. Everything is given in your hand. All that you have to do is understand how you use that information according to the topic that you've been given. This does everyone follow. This is everyone clear. Okay. Then what I will do is today is your, have they given you the topics for the next test? They should have uploaded it. You can check in sometime. Your test number 3 is starting. Happening with this now. Test number 3 should have been uploaded by now. If they're not, they'll upload it sometime shortly. in this test, there are topics which are related to almost everything that we've discussed so far. There are topics on poverty, there are topics on science and technology, there are topics on education, there are topics on IR, so on. When you're writing it, again, take as much time as you want. Take 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours. The deadline for this, it starts today, is till the 2nd of December midnight. Again, 3 days. When you're writing this, because this is the last test that we have here, when you're writing it, take as much time. First, go through the handout that has been given to you. First, choose the topic which you believe you are most comfortable with. Don't try to challenge yourself unnecessarily. First, try to gain confidence. Choose a topic which you're comfortable with. Open the handout in front of you. Spend 15 to 20 minutes, minimum 15 to 20 minutes, selecting the content, another 5 to 7 minutes, organizing the content. Which one will go in your introduction? What are the 5 paragraphs? What will you write first? What will you write later? Feel free to use a dictionary. Feel free to use the internet. Feel free to use any resource. What you believe is the best essay that you're capable of writing, write that down. After you collated all this, after you organize all of this, now start your writing exercise. Right? And again, what we are discussing, the one focus that I was trying to bring about today, when you're writing, keep the topic. In fact, since many of you forget about it, the topic, please keep somewhere right in front of you. Physically keep it in front of you on a separate piece of paper. And with every paragraph, just keep, sort of repeating the same question. Am I addressing this topic or not? That is your one focus. Okay. And that test then we'll discuss now. We'll meet one more time after this, which will be on the 7th of December. That day then let's see your answer scripts and let's see what you've done. And then we'll take a look at one more discussion that day. Some students are saying that, sir, we've not got the evaluations. They are scanning those sheets. Now, when the sheets are, when I give them the sheets, they have to scan all of them one by one. Then they upload all of them because they don't know where I've written a comment. That is taking a little time. You will get them by today evening. Hopefully, all of you will get them by today evening. That should not be a problem. But again, many of you, your marks are, many of you, I don't know what to say exactly because some students are getting very poor marks, but a lot of students, despite my best efforts, I could not cut their marks. So some are doing well. So when you get the evaluated answer sheets, you'll get them. You'll get them hopefully by today evening itself. You should be able to get them the moment the scanning is done. After that, it takes barely 5 minutes. Any questions, any clarifications that are needed? All right. Then this part that when I was saying that you should tailor the content according to the needs of the topic, these topics with those paragraphs, I will have it uploaded before the evening is over. When you get it, read them carefully. I don't know how because it's that black and white. I'll figure out some way in which you can distinguish between the difference between the 2 paragraphs. Pay attention to the difference. Pay attention to that difference. And keeping that in mind, then write your essays for these topics also. All right. Yes, customary morality cannot be a guide to modern life. That I completely forgot. I remembered that when I was on my way here today. I should have taken a photograph that day of what I was writing. Next class, I'll take that up. Or if possible, I'll put it up on your handout. You can read it from there. All right. Then this is where we'll call it a day for today. Again, write your test carefully. And 7 December, then we meet again to discuss what you've written there. All right. Thank you very much.